Bureau of Labor Statistics data, how data is collected and what the data is used for. I'm Desiree Cannon, and I will be analyzing how the Bureau of Labor Statistics data is collected and how it is used. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has essentially been around for over 130 years. The Bureau of Labor was established in 1884 into the Department of Interior. It had become an independent department in 1888 for 15 years, and then became incorporated into the Department of Commerce and Labor, with George B. Cortelyou appointed as the first Secretary of Commerce and Labor. They didn't want to just focus on business, but on the labor as well. When the role of the Secretary was taken over by Oscar S. Straus, he had stated that labor and capital were two arms of industry, the proper functioning of which could best be secured by corporation, which in turn could best be promoted by administering their interests together. In 1913, it became known as the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, or the BLS, provides the country's leaders and citizens with crucial information. The President, Congress, federal policymakers, public institutions, and private citizens all have access to this data and can use it to make pivotal decisions. Stakeholders use this information on a daily basis as well. They measure inflation, earning levels, unemployment, projections of occupational and industry growth, and so much more. Today, I will go over how the BLS collects data, from who the data is collected from, what the data is used for, and why it is important to collect this data. The first ever study that was done by the Bureau of Labor was between 1888 to 1890, where they studied the family expenditures and retail prices. During this time, the tariffs were high because of the debt from the Civil War. Tariff revenue was being reduced, and then the Tariff Act of 1890, commonly called the McKinley Tariff, increased the average tariff level from 38% to 49.5%. The Tariff Act of 1890 caused Congress to become concerned with the increase in the average level, and Congress requested the Bureau of Labor to study the wages, prices, and hours of work in the iron and steel, coal, textile, and glass industries. The information gathered was studied by Roland Faulkner, and it was found that the act had an impact on the U.S. economy. Now, an establishment is first selected by field economists based off of the geographical area and specific business characteristics. After the best candidate has been chosen, they will explain the National Compensation Survey, or the NCS. The NCS shows the comprehensive measures of occupational earnings. The information collected includes a job listing containing job titles, paid wages, employment status, union or non-union, date of hire, and job codes. A name or social security number is not needed. Averages or estimates can't be used. If the person is employed, that means the data is collected from a person who is working, whether it is part-time or full-time. It includes their pay, leave time, insurance, retirement, and benefits. The data collected from the work level is the knowledge, job controls and complexity, contacts, and physical environment. In this figure, it shows the various measures of wage growth from 1990 to 2015. A work schedule that has the daily, weekly, and annual hours may be asked for. The knowledge includes what is necessary to fully perform the job at its functioning level. The job controls and complexity is to see how tasks can be accomplished through flexibility. The contacts are the people and how they communicate. Finally, physical environment is what it takes to get the job done through strength, dangers, and safety precautions. The unemployment rate has had very little change from August 2015 to March 2016. In March 2016, there were 585,000 discouraged workers. There has been barely any change in the long-term unemployment since June 2015, as it remains at about 2.2 billion people. Essentially, there has been an increase in healthcare, food services, and drinking places, but there has also been a decline in manufacturing and mining industries. The data can be used to find things that tell us what's happening in the economy. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, measures the average change over time in the prices paid by urban consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. The BLS uses the data they gathered of average prices paid by consumers in each month and compare it to a base period. It is said that the base year is 1982, but in actuality, the BLS set the index to an average for the period from 1982 through 1984 inclusive, equal to 100. So there is no specific date when it was exactly 100. The CPI needed more accurate results, so in 2002, there were 3 related improvements that included extending the use of the computer-assisted data collection system in pricing all commodity and service categories, increasing the sample size of the Consumer Expenditure Survey, and beginning biennial weight updates. The improvements made gave a more accurate account of the spending and show the inflation more in depth on urban consumers. In this graph, the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers shows that the line is more in depth of the increase and decrease of the CPI after 2000. With more than a dozen ways to measure employee compensation data, forecasters can average them out to reduce error. In this figure, it shows the inflation in consumer prices of the US, Canada, and China, with the red line being the whole world. Everyone has been underneath the world inflation and consumer price rate besides China in 2011. CPI is important to study because it works as an economic indicator, as a deflator of other economic series, and as a means of adjusting dollar values. It is an economic indicator because it shows the price change in the government, business, labor, and other private citizens. It helps to get through the difficulty of making the best economic decision. It is a deflator for other economic series because it's used to adjust other series for price changes and to translate them into inflation-free dollars. We can see that as price increases, the purchasing power of the consumer dollar declines. The value of the dollar can be adjusted through consumers' income payments, whether it's through Social Security or the meals children eat at school. The adjustments prevent inflation-induced increases in tax rates. Again, I'm Desiree, and I covered the Bureau of Labor Statistics on how they gather data, test the data, and interpret the data. Thank you.